Welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur, the podcast for mums with an online business who are ready to take back their time, home, business, and self so they can restore the balance and thrive, both at home and at work, without feeling like they have to choose between the two. I'm your host, Sarah Dew, life and biz coach for mompreneurs. I'm also a mum, stepmom, wife, introvert, breast cancer survivor, and your mentor for making a change for the better. I've learned how to go from surviving to thriving and unapologetically create a business I love and the life I want for me and my family without worrying about what other people think. And now I'm here to help you do the same. Because being an unapologetic mompreneur doesn't mean that we're selfish or that we don't care about others. It simply means that we are not afraid to show up as our true, authentic selves, to step into our purpose, do what we know is right for ourselves and the ones we love, and take the steps we need to take to make our dream life and business a reality. Join me each week where I'll be sharing all of my best tips and strategies, plus the occasional dose of tough but gentle love to help you feel empowered, motivated, and confident to take action so that you can become the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. So, are you ready to unapologetically create a business and life you love? Let's do this. Hey there, and welcome to episode 108 of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. This is the second part of a two-part mini-series where we have been digging into the signs that your business is draining you and then how to build a business that doesn't. If you have been feeling a little heavy in your business lately or like it has lost some of its spark, you are not alone and you are definitely not doing anything wrong. You might just be building a business that is out of alignment with your current life, energy, and goals. And last week I shared 5 signs that your business might be slowly draining you without you even realizing it. And so if you haven't listened to that one yet, definitely go and check that one out because I share the 5 different signs that I personally have noticed every time I feel like my business and things are out of alignment and that my business is draining me. And they're signs that I see crop up time and time again when I'm working with my clients in my one-on-one program Biz Mentor. But I also shared a few things you can do to turn those around and reignite the spark. And today we are going to take it another step further. I'm going to be sharing with you some simple things that you can do and ways to build a business that doesn't drain you. Because even if you ticked every single one of those signs that I shared last week and you said yes to every single one of those, it's totally possible to redesign your business and get back in control of it so that it feels lighter, simpler, and more in sync with your life. You don't need to start over, nor do you need to throw it all out, burn it to the ground, throw in the towel, pull the plug, and walk away. Just a few small intentional tweaks can make a world of difference. And so, as I promised in my episode last week, I'm going to share with you today a few things that you can do, steps you can take to make sure that you are not building a business that drains you, but that you are getting up every morning and opening up your laptop and enjoying working on a business that lights you up, feels like yours, and most importantly, one that fits with every part of your life. These are all steps that I personally take every time I feel like things are starting to drain me or every time things are starting to feel a little bit overwhelming. And they're the steps that I take my clients through when we are working together, when we are working through either a Biz Breakthrough Power Hour or we are digging into and diving into my Biz Mentor one-on-one program. These are the strategies that I share with them to help them design a business that lifts them up and doesn't drain them. So if you are looking to make a bit of a switch right now, and you are wanting and craving a business that doesn't drain you, grab your notebook and pen because you are going to want to jot these ones down and start adding these to your business and see what a difference that it makes. The first thing you can do is to choose simple over fancy. You don't need a 27-step funnel, a complicated tech stack, or a perfect launch strategy to grow a successful business. In fact, one of my biggest lessons over the years is that most of the time it is the simple things, the clear offers, the consistent messaging, and the warm follow-ups that move the needle the most. I'll be the first to put my hand up and say that I have got a tendency to make things complicated, to make things more complicated than they actually need to be. And it's something that my husband and my biz besties often tease me over. And when I start feeling overwhelmed or feeling like there's too much going on in my business, it's usually because I have made things more complicated than they need to be. So if your business is starting to feel bloated, like it's complicated, like it's messy, do what I do. Give things the once over. Ask where you are making things more complicated than they need to be and how you can then make things simpler. Because you don't need that 27-step funnel. You don't need a 5-part welcome series. Maybe just a 3-step funnel will do the job, or a 1 email welcome series. Maybe it doesn't need to be a 6-week long launch strategy. Maybe it could just be a week or a couple of weeks where you are connecting with the audience that you already have. Choose simple over fancy because your dream clients and your customers, they don't need fancy. They need clarity, they need confidence, and they need connection. They need to know what it is that you have to offer and if you can help them and how you can make it happen. What is the transformation that you can offer for them? Keep things simple, remove some of the steps, ask where you are making things more complicated than they need to be, and how you can make them simpler. Not only does it make business feel easier, but it takes away some of the effort and the hard work. It makes things happen quicker. It means you're not spending the hours on it that you need to. You can spend and do things in half of the time when you've got half of the steps. So choose simple over fancy. Strategy number 2 that you can do to help you build a business that doesn't drain you is to make energy fit part of every decision. It took me a long time to figure this one out because I felt like I had to say yes to everything that came my way, to every opportunity. But before you say yes to a project, to a client, or a collaboration, pause, check in and ask yourself, does the thought of this energize me or deplete me? How something makes you feel matters just as much as the strategy behind it. This was a huge light bulb moment for me. Just because it came my way, it didn't mean that I had to say yes to it, or whether I actually had the time to even do it, or the desire to do it. Once I started bringing energy into every part of my decision before saying yes to something and asking how I felt about it, whether it energized me or the thought of it drained me, or whether I actually even had the time or energy to take that on right now, it really made things feel lighter for me. You don't have to say yes to everything that comes our way. And when you start choosing based on energy, rather than what you think you should be doing, this helps you to create a business that is naturally sustainable. Your energy is a compass. It will always guide you towards what is most aligned. So when in doubt of whether you should say yes to something, trust your gut instinct. I've recently gone through and had my human design reading and discovered that I am a projector, and looking at energy for me makes so much sense. I have to sit with the emotion and see how I feel about something before I can say yes to it. If I go all in straight away and I say yes, sometimes I then look at that and think, why did I do that? I should have given myself time. And since having that and discovering that I'm a projector, I've realized that I need to take a step back. Then I need to take my time to decide how I feel about something and how my energy feels behind it, of whether it is something that feels aligned and right for me. And that usually means sleeping on it and seeing how I feel about it the following morning, or giving myself 24 to 48 hours to sit on it and figure out where my energy fits with that decision. And since doing that, it has made it so much easier for me to figure out whether I have the energy, whether it energizes me or depletes me, whether it is part of what I really want from my business, and whether I should say yes or no to it. Now, I've talked before about, if you've listened to this podcast any length of time, about putting things to the unapologetic test of does it sit right? Does it feel right? Is it part of your goals, of your big overall vision, of your strategy, of what you want to do in your business? And this energy fit becomes part of that. How do you feel about it as well? Because how something makes you feel matters just as much as the strategy. If you don't have the energy behind it, if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't energize you, and you feel like it's going to drain you before you even say yes to it, then it has to be a hard no. And that is okay. Like I said to you, your energy is a compass. It will always guide you towards what is most aligned. So when in doubt, trust your gut instinct and make energy fit part of every decision. Strategy number three for building a business that doesn't drain you is to build in spacious weeks and no work windows. This was a huge game changer for me because your calendar is supposed to support your life and not squeeze the joy out of it. So don't be afraid of having a few blank spaces. It's super tempting to fill everything up so that it looks like we are doing things and that we are busy. And society has taught us that we have to be doing that we have to have a diary that is bursting at the seams in order to make us feel like we are being successful and that we are doing things. But that is rubbish because actually, space in our schedule gives us room to breathe and the idea is to flow. It also allows us to respond rather than react and helps to keep burnout at bay. One of the signs I shared about our businesses draining us in last week's episode is that we are constantly in reactive mode, that we are always putting fires out. And when we haven't got spacious weeks and no work windows, that's what happens. We end up being in reactive mode all the time and no time to think about what else we want to do in our business. We are constantly working in our businesses instead of on it. And we never have the time for us to take a few moments to step back, to regroup, to refresh, to fill our cup, and do things for ourselves as well. Build your business around your life instead of the other way around. Make sure you have got spacious weeks and no work windows. Go through your diary and block out all of your non-negotiables. Start with the school holidays, the family commitments, regular appointments that you have to make, and so on. And then add in time off for you as you would if you had a 9 to 5. And then base your work hours around what's left. When we're working a 9 to 5, we get those set 3, 4 weeks a year that we can take off as holiday. And you can bet that we are making sure that we have taken every single one. Because at the end of the year, if we haven't used it, we lose it. So we make sure that we take that time off. But when we're running our own businesses, we tend not to do that. We tend to just keep going and we can keep going and keep going without taking any time off. But we need that time to breathe, to step away, to recharge our batteries. And when we do that, that's when things are able to start flowing in our minds about the ideas of what we want to do and work on in our business. It allows time for the creative spark to come back. Rest isn't something that we earn, it's something that we plan for and that we need and that we deserve. So if you feel like your business is calling you 24/7, it might be time to check in with your schedule, make your working weeks a little bit more spacious, and add in a few no work windows. My main no work window is Friday afternoons. I finish at lunchtime on a Friday and I have a couple of hours to myself before I go and get Harrison from school. And I absolutely love that time. It took me a few weeks, maybe even actually a few months, if I'm honest, to get into the sync of doing that. But now I love it and I look forward to it every single week. That is my no work window where it's time just for me to rest, recharge, go for a coffee, maybe even have a sneaky session on Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation before Harrison gets in from school. But I look forward to that and I need it. And in those spacious weeks, I make sure that I don't fill up my diary with everything working on my business. I give myself a bit of buffer time to wrap things up because things always take longer to work on than we think that we do. And time runs away from us. So by having a little bit of extra time on a Friday morning where I have my Frog Friday sessions, just to wrap up things so that I can end my week on a high and get things done, makes all the difference. Your calendar is supposed to support your life, not squeeze the joy out of it. So if you are feeling like your business is calling you 24/7, check in on your diary, work from reverse, look at what you've already got with commitments and work back from there and then map out and base your work hours around what you have left. Strategy number 4 is to say no without the guilt. Not every opportunity, client, or idea is meant for you. And sometimes it isn't the right time. And that is okay. Going back to what we said about making energy fit part of every decision and putting things to the unapologetic test, it's okay to say no to something that doesn't fit. Saying no isn't rude, it's respectful to your energy, your values, and your long-term goals. And the clearer that you are on what you want, the easier it becomes to say no to what you don't. And every time you say no to something, you are creating space for opportunities that are the right fit. And you don't need to feel guilty about saying no. The saying no could just mean not right now. It doesn't have to be a permanent no. But also, it's okay if it's a permanent no, if it doesn't fit. Next time an opportunity comes your way, ask yourself whether you have the capacity or the desire to take it on right now. Just like that energy fit for strategy number 2, and whether saying yes will take you close to or further away from your goals. If it's the latter, don't be afraid to say no. And then finally, strategy number 5 for building a business that doesn't drain you is to measure success by how it feels, not just what it earns. Yes, revenue is an important metric. After all, you are running a business and you want to make money. But how does your nervous system feel? What are your joy levels right now? And are you able to switch off, get a good night's sleep, and spend time with family? Because a truly aligned business, a successful business, should feel good to run, not just look good on paper. I have learned this the hard way. It wasn't that long ago that I had got to a point where my business looked great from the outside, but inside I felt like I had created a beast. Once I stopped chasing the numbers and stopped attaching my worth to what was coming in every month or what I was making, and I started noticing the feels, I started making better decisions. I started attracting better fit clients. And now I have something that actually supports the life that I want. And I'm having the income coming in that I want too. That has become a natural byproduct. Instead of fighting it, instead of focusing on that revenue as that important metric and attaching my success to that, now I look at the feels. How am I feeling? How is my nervous system feeling? Where are my joy levels? What is my ability to switch off? How good a night's sleep am I getting? And how much quality time am I spending with my family? All of those things, that's success for me too. So if you want a business that doesn't drain you, define your success by how you feel, not just what you are earning. Saying no without guilt, blocking time off, choosing simple over fancy, these all might be tiny shifts, but the ripple effects that they have can be huge. I've personally seen these myself, and anytime I feel like my business is draining me, I take a look and make sure that I am working on all of these, that I've implemented all of these, that I am choosing simple over fancy, that I'm making energy fit part of every decision, that I'm building in spacious weeks and no work windows, that I'm saying no without the guilt, and that I'm measuring my success by how it feels, not just what it earns. And it's exactly the kind of thing that I help my clients do when we work together. We declutter what's not working. We get realigned with what matters. And I help them design a business that truly supports their life. So, my question to you this week is this: which one of these 5 shifts would have the biggest impact for you right now? Is it choosing simple over fancy? Is it making energy fit part of every one of your decisions? Is it building in spacious weeks and no work windows? Is it saying no without guilt? Or is it measuring success by how it feels and not just what it earns? You don't need to do and work on all of these at once. Just pick one this week, lean into it, feel what a difference it makes, and then when you're ready, move on to the next. I would love to know from you which one of these stands out from you the most. Which one are you going to implement first? Send me a DM over on Instagram and let me know. I would love to hear from you, and I can be right there by your side cheering you on. And if you want help implementing these, if you want personalized support in decluttering what's not working, realigning what matters, and designing a business that lifts you up and truly supports your life instead of draining you, book a Biz Growth Breakthrough Brew session with me or come and work with me one-on-one inside Bizmentum. You'll find the links for both of those in the show notes. And I can't wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me for another installment of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I would love for you to leave me a rating and a review so that other mompreneurs can find this podcast too. Here's to unapologetically becoming the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. I can't wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now.